Hi, today we're going to take a look at two fluid heads by Manfrotto, the 504x and the 608 Nitrotech. So let's start. Today we're taking a look at two video heads by Manfrotto, the 504x and the Nitrotech 608. This will be the second part of this dual Manfrotto product review, where on the first part we looked at two Manfrotto video tripod legs. A few weeks ago, we published a review of the Manfrotto 635 and 645 video tripod legs. These are part of a whole range of new video-centric accessories that the company has been introducing gradually over the past several years, which also includes the two advanced fluid heads that we shall review today. Announced in June 2020, the 504x is the newest member of Manfrotto's 500 fluid head series and the replacement to the original 504 HD head. It brings to the table several improvements, including increased payload and lighter build, as well as a new 4-step counterbalance. It is also a flat-base head, unlike the original 504 HD, which used a 75mm built-in half-ball design. The Nitrotech series of fluid heads is a much more recent product line from Manfrotto, which started with the N8 and N12 heads back in 2017. This line of fluid heads incorporates continuous counterbalance and a new fluid technology for smoother movements. The Nitrotech 600 series, which includes the 608 and 612 heads, was introduced back in 2019 with redesigned ergonomics and a few modifications, and replaced the original N8 and N12 heads. Now let's take a closer look at some of the features of the 504x and the Nitrotech 608. Both heads come with a long list of features and capabilities, and while they might look similar and have a number of common design elements, they also have some differentiating aspects that we shall explore in this review. Both heads have a new style of pen system, which is much smoother, has a more convenient ratcheting lock compared to some of Manfrotto's previous pen locking systems, and of course a large drag control mechanism for pen. It is also worth noting that Manfrotto marked both drag mechanisms on both heads with a clear red metal color. The 504x and the 608 have the same tilt lock and drag mechanism design. However, with the 504x, Manfrotto also added a lock-unlock text on the head. Both have the same -70° to +90° angle range. Both heads also come with a nice 36cm long handle with a rubber grip at the end. The only downside to this length is that the handle doesn't fall like the ones on some other fluid heads. The handle can connect to the head on either of the two sides via a metal rosette with an Arri locating pins and Manfrotto proprietary EasyLink connection. Although we love the EasyLink system, which prevents arms from twisting, it is a Manfrotto specific solution, unlike the Arri pins. One more thing to note about both heads: the part which holds the rosette is quite delicate and is only connected to the rest of the head on one side, so be careful not to put too much pressure with any of the arms that you attach. The 504x does have a small advantage in this area, as it has an extra 3/8 connector on the side with Arri pins, but with no EasyLink for some reason. This feature is missing from the 608 head. Both heads come with an illuminated leveling bubble. It is better than some of Manfrotto's older designs, but still not the most convenient to see from most angles. To be fair, this is a problem very few manufacturers seem to have solved. The maximum payload of the 504x is 12 kilograms. While very few setups are going to go anywhere near this weight, supporting this amount of payload should give users a peace of mind that even with large front-heavy rigs, they should be able to operate freely. The 608 head has a smaller maximum payload of 8 kilograms. However, it is about 200 grams heavier at close to 2.5 kilograms, while the 504x is just over 2.2 kilograms. The 504x plate lock mechanism is pretty straightforward. It includes a ratcheting lock lever and a release lock. After you open the locking lever, you push the release lock and you can remove the plate by pulling it up and to the side. The plate will not come off even if you forgot to lock the ratcheting lever. The mechanism on the 608 is similar in principle, but it feels a little bit more cumbersome as you need to push the locking lever forward and the release lock at the same time, which takes some getting used to. On the other hand, the plate that comes with the Nitrotech 608 has useful markings that can help with balancing your rig, while the one that comes with the 504X is the standard 504P long plate with no markings. Both heads come with a flat base. Unlike some of Manfrotto's previous advanced heads, this is very welcome as you can now use them with ease on a slider or a jib. We have been working with a really useful iFootage C-Star Q1 quick release system with both heads, and we really hope that Manfrotto will bring their own similar system to the market, as iFootage still didn't resolve the missing locking pins with their plates. One other piece of information about both heads that might be important to those operating in extreme weather is the working temperature of both heads. On the 608 it is between -20 and +50 degrees Celsius, while the 504X has a wider range of between -30 degrees Celsius and +60 degrees. Now let's move over to counterbalance systems. We decided to include a special subsection about the counterbalance systems of both heads, as it is one of the most important differences between the two. Let's start with the 504X, which uses a 4-step counterbalance system. Here are the steps that you need to make in order to balance your system. First, unlock the tilt brake. Turn the drag knob counterclockwise. Turn the counterbalance knob to 0. Connect your camera or rig to the PL plate and angle it sideways while pushing the release lock in. Next, level the camera and position the plate in a way that the camera or rig won't fall forward or backwards, and tighten the locking lever. Tilt the camera forward carefully, and if it falls forward, change the counterbalance to 1 and see if it falls backwards. If it does, increase the counterbalance more. The correct state of the head is where the tilt of the camera stays in position no matter what angle you set it to. Finally, adjust the drag of the tilt to your liking. Here are 3 extra notes about the counterbalance on the 504X. The minimum setup weight for the counterbalance system to work is 2.2 kilograms. Anything below that will not be counterbalanced. According to Manfrotto, the counterbalance settings are as follows: 0, no counterbalance; 1, 2.2 kilograms; 2, 4.4 kilograms; and finally 3, 6.6 kilograms. A significantly higher weight will not counterbalance. Any weight that falls between 1, 2, and 3 needs to be compensated using the drag knob to counterbalance correctly. Now we move over to the 608, where you have a lot more control of the counterbalance. The process is fairly similar, but with a few important differences. Start by unlocking the tilt brake, turn the drag knob counterclockwise, pull the counterbalance knob out and turn it all the way counterclockwise. Connect your camera or rig to the PL plate and angle it sideways while pushing the plate down. Level the camera and position the plate in a way that the camera or rig won't fall forward or backwards, and tighten the locking lever by pulling it back. Tilt the camera forward carefully, and if it falls forward, change the counterbalance by turning it clockwise until the camera stays in position at any angle. Finally, adjust the drag to your liking and push the counterbalance knob back in. Here are 3 extra notes. The 608 can counterbalance lighter setups than the 504X, but with light setups you will need to add drag to compensate. According to Manfrotto, the 608 can counterbalance all the way to its max carrying capacity of 8 kilograms. As we have mentioned before, pulling back the locking lever feels somewhat counterintuitive, although you will get used to it eventually. So, bottom line, which should you get? Well, after using both heads for several months, we would say that both heads are great and very similar in many respects. However, the 504X feels more intuitive to use, is a bit lighter, has higher carrying capacity and an extra Arri connector, and of course costs less. The main thing that the 608 has, other than the marked plate, is the Nitrotech continuous counterbalance system. Not everybody uses counterbalance, but the 608 is more versatile in this respect and can work with a wider range of cameras, setups, and weights. At the end of the day, it's fair to say that if precise counterbalance is essential to your workflow, go with the 608. Otherwise, the 504X is the way to go and comes highly recommended. Finally, when it comes to pricing, the 504x sells for $410 while the Nitrotech 608 sells for $490. So that was our look at the 504x and the Nitrotech 608. You can check out the full article on lensvid.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to find more videos just like this. See you next time.